Samsaradava nalalida loka Chanaya karunaganatvam Samsaradava nalalida loka Chanaya karunaganatvam Paptasya kalyana Gunaravasya Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nitya Gita Padicha Madhyam Manasura Sena
Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nitya Gita Padicha Madhyam Manasura Sena
Romanchakam Sutaranga Bhajo Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam
Romanchakam Sutaranga Bhajo Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam
Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam
Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam
Shri Vigrahara Dana Nichanana Shingaratan Mandira Majanado
Shri Vigrahara Dana Nichanana Shingaratan Mandira Majanado
Yuktasya Bhaktam Saniyunjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam
Yuktasya Bhaktam Saniyunjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam
Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam
Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam
Chaturvida Shri Bhagavat Prasado Sadvana Chiptan Hari Bhakta Sangam
Chaturvidashi Bhagavat Prasada Sadvana Tripta Hari Bhakta Sangam
Kirtaiva Chiptim Bhajata Sadaiva Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam
Vaiva Trupte Bhajata Sadeva Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam
Shiradika Mad Avayurapara Madhurya Lila Gunarupanam Nam Chiradi Atikshana Swat Dhanalulupasya Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Nikunjayu Rati Keli Siddhai Jayali Biyuktira Piksanina Itaiva Chiptim Bachata Sadaiva Bande Guru Shri Charanaravindam
Tatrati Daksha Ativalavasa Bande Gurashi Charanaravindam
Tatrati Daksha Dati Balabasya Bande Guru Shri Charanaravindam
Tatrati Daksha Ativalavasa Bande Gurashi Charanaravindam
Shakshataritse Asamasta Sastri Yuktastatta Bhavyate Vasadmi Shakshataritse Kinto Prabhuya Priya Eva Tasya Bande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Bande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Bande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Yasha Prasada Bhagavat Prasada Yasha Prasadana Nakatika Topi Dayam Stutvam Stasya Yasasti Sandam Bande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Dayam Stutvam Stasya Yasasti Sandam Bande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutali Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namini
Krishna Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paskatya Desatarine
Namaste Saraswati Devi
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhaktavinda Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda Gaura Bhaktavinda Gaura Bhaktavinda Gaura Bhaktavinda Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hey bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. bolo Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Bolo Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Bolo Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Hari Bol Gora Hari Bol Nitai Gora Hari Bol Nitai Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol Gora Hari Bol Nitai Gora Hari Bol Krishna 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 Hey Bolo Krishna 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 Hey Bolo Rama Krishna 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 Rakshaman Bolo Krishna 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 Pahiman Ram Raghava Rakshaman Krishna Keshava Pahimam Bolo Krishna Krishna Hey Bolo Krishna Krishna Hey Bolo Krishna Krishna Rakshaman Krishna Krishna Pahiman Bolo Ram Raghava Rakshaman Krishna Keshava Pahiman Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Bolo Hare Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Hari Bol Gora Hari Bol Nitai Gora Hari Bol Nitai Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gora Hari Bol Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namah Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Gopala Govinda Ram Shrimad Sudan. Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan. Bolo Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita. Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan. Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Sita. Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita. 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 Bola Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita. Shri Rupa Shri Sanatan Bhatta Raghunan. Shri Rupa Shri Sanatan Bhatta Raghunan. Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita. Shri Rupa Shri Sanatan Bhatta Raghunan. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol, 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 Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gora Hari Bol, Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gora Hari Bol. Nitya Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitya Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitya Gora Hari, Nitya Gora Premanandi Ki Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namaste Narasimhaya. Pralada Lada Dayini. Hiranyakashipur Bhakshaha. Hiranyakashipur Bhakshaha. Shilatam kala kalaye Shilatam kala kalaye Ito nishinga parato nishinga Yato yato yamitato nishinga Bayi nishinga hidaye nishinga Narashina madin saranam prapade Avakara kamala bare nakam advuta shinga Dalita hiranya kashipu tanubringam Keshavajita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadesha Hare Jaya Jagadesha Hare Jaya Jagadesha Hare Tavakara Kamala Bare Nakam Advuta Shinga Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringam Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadesha Hare Jaya Jagadesha Hare Jaya Jagadesha Hare Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadesha Hare Jaya Jagadesha Hare Jaya Jagadesha Hare Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadesha Hare Jaya Jagadesha Hare Jaya Jagadesha Hare Jaya Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Bolo Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Mahotsav ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Pararajagachasta Tarasatara Shri Shrimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prime Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta ki jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Samakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana ki jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Shri Mayapura Dham ki jai. Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai, Tulasi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Ganga Maya ki jai, Jamuna Maya ki jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande. All glorious to the assembled devotees, all glorious to the assembled devotees, all glorious to the assembled, all glorious to Shri Guru and Shri Guranga, all glorious to Srila Prabhupada, Patita Pavane ki jai. Gaura Premanande. Hari Bol. Vrindaye Tulsidevai Priyaye Keshavasya Cha Vishnu Bhakti Pradidevi Satiratai Namo Namaha. Vrindaye Tulsidevai Priyaye Keshavasya Cha Vishnu Bhakti Pradidevi Satiratai Namo Namaha. Vrindaye Tulsidevai Priyaye Keshavasya Cha Vishnu Bhakti Pradidevi Satiratai Namo Namaha. Tulsidevi Maharani ki jai.
Namo Namo Tulasi Krishna Priyasi Namo Namo
Tulasi Krishna Priyasi Namo Namaha.
Radha Krishna Shiva Pavo Eyo Bilasi Radha Krishna Shiva Pavo Eyo Bilasi Tulasi Krishna Priyasi Namo Namo
Tulasi Krishna Priyasi Namo Namaha.
Jai Tomara Sharanalay Karavancha Purnao কৃপা করে করতরে বৃন্দাবন বাসে
কাকারি করা তরে বৃন্দাবনবাসে
তুমি কৃপা করে করতরে বৃন্দাবন বাসে
পাকারি করা তোরে বৃন্দাবনবাসে
মোরায়ে বিলাস কুঞ্জে দিয়বা
মোরায়ে বিলাস কুঞ্জে দিয়বা
নায়ানে হেরিব সদ যুগল রূপ রাশি
নায়নে রিবাসাদা যুগল রূপরাশি
আমি নায়নে হেরিব সদ যুগল রূপ রাশি
নায়নে রিবাসাদা যুগল রূপরাশি
দানাদার সখীরায়নো গত কর সেবায়াদি কর দিয়ে কর নিজ দাসে কৃষ্ণ দাস কয় হে নামরা শ্রী রাধা গোবিন্দ প্রেমে সদায় নবসে শ্রী রাধা গোবিন্দ প্রেমে সদায় নবসে
গোবিন্দ প্রেমে সদায় নবসে
তুলসী কৃষ্ণ প্রেয়সে নমো নমঃ জানি কানে সাপাপানে ব্রহ্মহত্যারে কানে তানে তানে প্রাণ শান্তি প্রদক্ষিণ পারে পারে
জানি কানি চাপাপানি ব্রহ্মহত্যাধিকানি চা তানি তানি পানে সন্তি Adikshana bade bade
Kane kane sapapane Brahmahatyari kane sa Tane tane prana shanti Pradakshina pade pade
Yani gani chapapani Brahmahatyadhikani cha Tani tani pane santi Vadikshana vade vade
Kane kane sapapane Brahmahatyari kane sa Tani tani prana santi Pradakshina pade pade
Yani kani chapapani Brahmahatyadhikani cha Tani tani pane santi Vadikshana vade vade
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama,
Hare Hare.
Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Brinda Devi, Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Brinda Devi.
Tulsi Maharani Jaya, Tulsi Maharani Jaya, Tulsi Maharani Jaya, Tulsi Maharani.
Jaya Brinde, Jaya Brinde, Jaya Brinde, Jaya Tulsi Maharani. O Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora Haribo.
Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora Haribo.
Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora Haribo.
Tulsi Devi Maharani ki jai.
Jai.
Brindaye Tulsi Devai, Priyaye Kesavasya cha, Vishnu Bhakti Pradi Devi Satyavratai Namo Namaha. Brindaye Tulsi Deva, Priyaye Kesavasya cha, Vishnu Bhakti Pradi Devi Satyavratai Namo Namaha. Brindaye Tulsi Deva, Priyaye Kesavasya cha, Vishnu Bhakti Pradi Devi Satyavratai Namo Namaha. Brindaye Tulsi Devi Maharani ki jai. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastha Bhutali Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Tanami Namaste Saraswati Devi Guru Charani Vises Paskati Desatai. O Tulasi, beloved of Krishna, I bow before you again and again. My desire is to obtain the service of Shri Shri Radha and Krishna. Whoever takes shelter of you has his wishes fulfilled. Bestowing your mercy upon him, you make him a resident of Vrindavan. My desire is that you also grant me a residence in the pleasure groves, the Sri Vrindavana Dham. Thus, within my vision, I will always behold your beautiful pastimes, Radha Krishna. I beg you to make me a follower of the cowherd damsels of Raja. Please give me the privilege of devotional service and make me your own maidservant. This very fallen and lovely servant of Krishna prays, may always swim in love, Shishi, Radha, and Govinda. Tulsi Devi Maharani ki jai. Well, before you leave, I have some very, 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 very good news. And that is that something I've been waiting for at least 7 years. That is that the city of Bellevue has changed the zoning of our building, meaning now we can build an 8-story building there. Which means that the potential value of that place has gone up to $60 million right now. So this is very, 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 very good news. And it proves that if we have patience, full faith in Prabhupada and Krishna, and do not waver in the face of all kinds of opposition and difficulties. By Krishna's mercy, we will succeed. So we're going to build a temple now there. The work will start in the next week or two, and hopefully 6 months from now it'll be finished, and we'll move into our brand new temple in Bellevue. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanandi, Haribol. What? Yes, several points now. We're going to have basically a 4-day festival, Friday, Saturday, 3-day festival, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Well, counting today, 4-day festival. And the highlight of it will be the Harinam Sankirtan. We're going to have an Istagosi at 11 o'clock, if you can come. We're going to explain a lot about the Sankirtan, how to do it in a safe way. We'll have a little bit of practice of some things. And then there'll be Aarti, and then after Aarti there'll be Prasadam, and after Prasadam we're going to go out on Sankirtan. And tell all your friends, tell all your enemies, come out on Sankirtan. Everybody is welcome. We want to get at least 400 to 500 devotees on Sankirtan. Also, for a first time in the history of this temple, I want everyone to be present from 5 o'clock on to the Sunday feast, because there should be very enthusiastic chanting for our Sunday feast from now on. So I want everyone to be here at 5 o'clock. We have Tulsi Aarti, we have Guru Puja, we have Tulsi Aarti, we have bhajans, and then we'll have class, and then we'll have Aarti, and the whole room should be resounding with the holy name. And anybody who walks in, they should be stunned by the ecstasy of the devotees, by the reverent, pure chanting the holy names, and dancing. This is what convinces people about Krishna consciousness. But just coming, in the last quarter hour of the kirtan is not very good thing to do. Coming at 5 o'clock and being here for the whole program, and when anybody walks in, they see a gigantic group of devotees chanting ecstatically the holy name. That has a very great influence on the people, and they will be very shocked to see such ecstatic dancing and singing. So please come. If we want to make devotees, this is the way to make devotees, is to have an atmosphere of sincere chanting of the holy name, and not just 3 or 4 people, but 50 to 100 people doing that. So anybody else that walks in, immediately they get caught up in the ecstasy of the devotees. So at least this Sunday, everybody come here at 5 o'clock for the Sunday program. Hare Krishna. Okay, so, huh? What? Yeah, okay, 1 second. Chito darpanam arjanam bhavamahadavagni nirvapanam Sherakairavya chandrika vitarinam vidyavadahu jivanam Anandam buddhivardhanam pratipradam pranam ritasvadanam Sarvatma snapanam param vichayate Shri Krishna sankirtanam Nam namakari bahuda nija sarva saktis Tatra pita niyamitak smaranina kala Etadrisita vakripa bhagavan mamapi Durdaivam trisi samiha janina anuraga Trinadapi sunichena tarurapi saistana Amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari Nadanam najanam nasundarim kavitam va jagadisha kamaye Mama janmani janmanishware bhavatat bhaktir haituki tvai Ai nandatanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam buddho Kripaya tava pada pankaja stita tulisad visam vichintaya Dayanam galadas rudaraya vadamam gadya darudaya jira Pulakaya nisitam vapu kada tavanamagrahane bhavishyati Yugayitam nimesena chaksusa pavrisayitam Sunyayitam jagat sarvam govinda virahena me Aslisyava padaratam pinastumam Adarsanam marmahato karutuva Yata tata vavidadatu lampato mat prananatastu saeva naparaha Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Shri Chaitanya Siksastakam Ki Jai. The most praised. Glory to the Shri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. Oh my Lord, when my eyes are decorated, Govinda, today's energies. They're not even hard and fast. Oh my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names. But I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen to this ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death, and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. O my Lord, when my eyes be decorated with tears of love, flowing fondly when I chant your holy name, when will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs in my body stand on end at the recitation of your holy name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me brokenhearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally. Shri Chaitanya Siksastakam Ki Jai. Gaura Premanandi. Haribol. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Buddhi Samanta Bhakta Samanta. Namaste says Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. So today we're going to read the chapter 1, not all of it, but one part of it that's extremely important, and that is the introductory part of it. So it says, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than the combined form of Shri Radha and Krishna. He is the life of those devotees who strictly follow in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami. Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatana Goswami are the two principal followers of Srila Swarupa Damodar Goswami, who acted as the most confidential servitor of Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, known as Vishwambara, in his early life. A direct disciple of Srila Rupa Goswami was Srila Raghunath Dasa Goswami. The author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, stands as the direct disciple of Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Raghunath Dasa Goswami. So right there in that first paragraph of the introduction, you get an idea of the parampara, and it's going to continue, explain even more. But it explains first who is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's the combination of Radha and Krishna. This is exceptional. This is something never heard of before, right? Because Radha and Krishna were one, but then they became two to expand Krishna's transcendental ecstasies. And now they've become one again in Lord Chaitanya. It's a very, very transcendental concept. The direct disciple of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was Srila Narottam Dasa Thakura, who accepted Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti as his servitor. Srila Vishnavata Chakravarti Thakur accepted Srila Jagannath Dasa Babaji, the spiritual master of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, who in turn accepted Srila Gorakishora Das Babaji, the spiritual master of Om Vishnu Pada Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, the divine master of our humble self. So you see, Prabhupada is explaining the direct discipleship or parampara from Lord Chaitanya right up to Prabhupada himself. And of course, Krishna has explained before that he is the origin of all the Vaishnava Sampradayas, and then he spoke to Brahma, Brahma spoke to Narada, Narada spoke to Vyasa, and Vyasa spoke to his disciples, coming down to Madhvacharya, and also Lord Chaitanya, the 6 Goswamis, and then coming down all the way to Prabhupada. Since we belong to this chain of disciplic succession from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this edition of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita will contain nothing newly manufactured by our tiny brains, but only remnants of food originally eaten by the Lord himself. In other words, this is all prasad. Chaitanya Charitamrita is all Mahaprasadam. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does not belong to the mundane plane of the three qualitative modes. He belongs to the transcendental plane beyond the reach of the imperfect sense perception of a living being. Even the most erudite, mundane scholar cannot approach the transcendental plane unless he submits himself to transcendental sound with a receptive mood, for in that mood only can one realize the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So there's no room here for the speculators, the so-called scientists and philosophers and rationalists and empiricists, etc. There's no place for them. There's no way that they can enter into the mysteries of this Chaitanya Charitamrita and Lord Chaitanya unless they surrender to the Lord. And surrender, how do you surrender? You surrender by hearing every day Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam spoken by genuine devotees. What will be described herein, therefore, has nothing to do with the experimental thoughts created by the speculative habits of inert minds. Inert means like dead, basically, minds of the speculators, the scientists, the philosophers, and so forth. The subject matter of this book is not a mental concoction, but a factual spiritual experience that one can realize only by accepting the line of disciplic succession described above. Any deviation from that line will bewilder the reader's understanding of the mystery of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is a transcendental literature meant for the postgraduate study of one who has realized all the Vedic literatures such as the Upanishads and Vedanta Sutra, and their natural commentaries such as Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita. So in other words, Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita encapsulates the essence of all the Vedas and the Upanishads and the Mahabharata and the Vedanta Sutra, etc. So you don't really have to read those other scriptures. You simply read and hear spoken by genuine devotees Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. This edition of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is presented for the study of sincere scholars who are really seeking the absolute truth. It is not the arrogant scholarship of a mental speculator, but a sincere effort to serve the order of a superior authority whose service is the life and soul of this humble effort. It does not deviate even slightly from the revealed scriptures, and therefore anyone who follows in the disciplic line will be able to realize the essence of this book simply by the method of oral reception. So oral reception doesn't mean that you speak. It means that you hear a genuine devotee speak. So oral and oral. Oral, O-R-A-L, means someone who speaks, right? But oral, A-U-R-A-L, means you hear. Although the two words are pronounced the same, they're not spelled the same, and they have different meanings. So this is about oral, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita by genuine devotees. This edition, Chaitanya Charitamrita, is presented for the study of sincere scholars. Okay. The first chapter of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita begins with 14 Sanskrit verses that describe the absolute truth. Then the next 3 Sanskrit verses describe the principal deities of Vrindavana, namely Shri Radha Madan Mohana, Shri Radha Govinda, and Shri Radha Gopinath. The first of the 14 verses is a symbolic representation of the supreme truth, and the entire first chapter is in actuality devoted to this single verse, which describes Lord Chaitanya in his 6 different transcendental expansions. The first manifestation described is the spiritual master. So you see right from the beginning of this Chaitanya Charitamrita, and right from the 6 expansions of the Lord, the first is the spiritual master, and there's 2 spiritual masters, the Siksha and Diksha Gurus. This has such utmost importance. It's the first point of this first chapter of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. The first manifestation described is the spiritual master, who appears in 2 plenary parts called the initiating spiritual master and the instructing spiritual master. They are identical because both of them are phenomenal manifestations of the supreme truth. So in other words, the Siksha and Diksha Gurus are equal in importance in the life of a devotee. It's not that, oh, I only listen to what my Diksha Guru says. I don't care about anybody else. That is nonsense. That is not Krishna consciousness. Next described are the devotees, who are divided into 2 classes, namely the apprentices and the graduates. Next are the incarnations, avatars of the Lord, who are explained to be non-different from the Lord. These incarnations are considered in 3 divisions: incarnations of the potency of the Lord, incarnations of his qualities and incarnations of his authority. In this connection, Lord Sri Krishna's direct manifestations and his manifestations for transcendental pastimes are discussed. Next considered are the potencies of the Lord, of which three principal manifestations are described: the consorts in the kingdom of God, Vaikuntha, the queens of Dwarka Dhamma, and the highest of all, the damsels of Rajadhamma. Finally, there is the Supreme Lord himself, who is the fountainhead of all these manifestations. So it says there's 6 different transcendental expansions: the spiritual master and masters, and then the devotees, and then the avatars, and then the potencies of the Lord, and then the Supreme Lord himself. So if we understand these 6 things, or these 6 transcendental expansions of the Lord, we understand Krishna consciousness. You can't, it's not a, it's this whole, let's say, supreme personality of Godhead that has to be understood. That's why there's the Panchatattva. You have Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, Lord Advaitacharya, and then Gadadhar Pandit, and then you have Narada Muni or Shivas. So, Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Lord Nityananda is his direct expansion, and Advaitacharya is his incarnation, and Gadadhar is Radharani, his internal potency, and then Shivas is Narada Muni, or his pure devotee. This is called the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When you say Godhead, it includes all these things. You cannot understand Krishna alone, because Krishna's always has all these expansions of himself. Lord Sri Krishna and his plenary expansions are all in the category of the Lord himself, the energetic absolute truth, whereas his devotees, his eternal associates, are his energies. So this is what confuses people when it says that the residents of Vaikuntha, and and then the damsels are married to Krishna in Dwarka, and then the gopis, especially Radharani in Goloka Vrindavana. These are all energies of the Lord. And then these are his direct expansions. And then the living entities, you and me, we are also energies of the Lord. He's referring to his expansions as energies of himself. And sometimes people get confused because of this idea of energy. But what does it mean? Well, we can see when everybody cooperates, we do very energetic activities like Ananda Mela, like Rasa Yatra, like Diwali festival, like Janmashtami in the temple. We are energies of the Lord, and when we cooperate and use our energies to please the Lord and please Prabhupada, wonderful things happen. Things start moving. You know, we move the whole festival to the Redmond City Hall campus, or we move the whole festival to Seattle, to the Seattle Center, or we do a gigantic festival where we get 15,000 people coming in 2 days in this temple. I mean, it's mind-boggling when you think about the scope of the things that we can actually do when we cooperate. And so we are energies of Krishna, and if we dedicate our energy, instead of playing on the computer or social media or talking nonsense or playing basketball or whatever, if we use our energy to please Krishna, all of a sudden wonderful things happen, and Vaikuntha is manifested in this world, in this temple, and even outside. So we should realize what we are. We are energies of Krishna. If we use this energy in Krishna's service, we go back to Godhead. If we use this energy to talk nonsense, to engage in illicit activities, to waste our time becoming AI or this thing or that thing, you basically realize, but at the end of your life, you wasted your life because you don't know what's going to happen to you at the moment of death or what's after that. So in order to convince people not to worry about that, kids are taught in school that there is no God, and number two, when you die, there's nothing. So once those two false things are taught to kids, they become vishayis, sense gratifiers for the rest of their life. So we should understand what's happening in this materialistic atmosphere. We're being convinced by going to schools of the material conception of life. Eat, sleep, drink, have sense gratification, and when you die, it's all over. So you may as well live to the fullest right now. That's what they say. Live to the fullest means sense gratify as much as you can, because when you die, it's all over. All that is false, and it ruins a person's life. Thus, the absolute truth is manifested in diversity in one unit. This philosophical truth, which is pursuant to the Vedanta Sutra, is called Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva, or the conception of simultaneous oneness and difference. In the latter portion of this chapter, the transcendental position of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and that of Srila Nityananda Prabhu are described with reference to the above theistic facts. Okay, so Lord Sri Krishna and his plenary expansions are all in the category of the Lord himself, the energetic absolute truth, whereas his devotees, his eternal associates, are his energies. The energy and the energetic are fundamentally one, but since their functions are differently exhibited, they are simultaneously different also. Thus the absolute truth is manifested in diversity in one unit. This philosophical truth, which is pursuant to the Vedanta Sutra, is called Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. So when we all cooperate, we're one with Krishna. When we don't cooperate, when we sleep in, when we talk nonsense, when we engage in frivolous activities that are not related at all to Krishna consciousness, we are separated, big time. And then we become subject to the laws of karma. If we stay always engaged in devotional service, we no longer have any karma. And whatever karma we had previously is eradicated. That means that we're liberated in this world. So I'll stop right there. We only covered, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 paragraphs. But there's the whole philosophy of Krishna consciousness and Lord Chaitanya right there in 7 paragraphs. This is only Prabhupada can write like this, because this is very intense, very compacted, transcendental knowledge. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So today is a work day, but we'll continue tonight. And like I said, tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. 4 days of festivals. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
their own school, Maharaj. Like playway school. Like, before.
See, the thing is,
Maybe her daughter can also achieve otherwise. Graduate. Very active.
see what they're going to do, they're going to scare her.
Yes, that's what happening,
And
Maharaj.
then
Last
they're going
12
to think,
hours.
oh, I can't believe this. I'm the lost. Well, if you're going to trust the doctors, go ahead. See, everyone panics in a situation like this, so they think the only solution is the doctors. Purification, purifies blood, body. And she should stay there. She shouldn't commute and everything, 'cause that's too. She Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Ask her if she wants to sing.
Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma.
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 Bandhu mui savadana mate.
Bandhu mui savadana mate.
Jahara prasade bhai e bhavatoriya jai.
Janara prasade bhai e bhavatoriya jai.
Krishna prapti hoy jaha hoy te.
Krishna prapti hoya hoite.
Guru mukha padma vakya chitte koriya kya.
Guru Mukha Padma Vaikya Chitte Goriya Kya.
Arana kori ho mane asha.
Arana Koriya Mane Asa.
Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Uttama Gati.
Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Uttama Gati.
Je prasad pure sarva asha.
Ye prasade pure sarva asa.
Je prasad pure sarva asha.
Ye prasade pure sarva asa.
चक्षुदान दिलो जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से
चक्षुदान दिल जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से
चक्षुदान दिलो जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से
चक्षुदान दिल जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से
दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित
दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित
दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित
दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित
प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाश जाते
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 वेद गाय जहाँ रचरित
वेद गाय जन रचरित
वेद गाय जहाँ रचरित
वेद गाय जन रचरित
श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु आदम जनार बंधु
गुरु करुणा सिंधु अदन जनार बंधु
श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु आदम जनार बंधु
गुरु करुणा सिंधु अदन जनार बंधु
लोकनाथ लोकेर जीवाना
लोकनाथ लोकेर जीवाना
लोकनाथ लोकेर जीवाना
लोकनाथ लोकेर जीवाना
हा हा प्रभु कर दया ने हमारे पाद छाया
हा प्रभु कोर दया दे मोरे पद छाया
हा हा प्रभु कर दया ने हमारे पाद छाया
हा प्रभु कोर दया दे मोरे पद छाया
ए बजास गुशु त्रिभुवाना
व्यास कुशति भुवाना
ए बजास गुशु त्रिभुवाना
व्यास कुशति भुवाना
जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा श्रील प्रभुपदा
जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा
नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिने
ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिने
नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे
नमस्ते
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरा भक्तवृंद
जय श्री कृष्ण
Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda
Nityananda
Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavindam
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda
Nityananda
Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavindam
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Srila Prabhupada
Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva
Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva
Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Nitai Gauranga Jaya Gaura Hari
Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Gurudeva
Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Nitai Gauranga Jaya Gaura Hari
Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Gaura Hari
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol
Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol
Jaya Radha Nila Madhura Radha Nila Madhura Radhe
Jaya Radha Nila Radha Nila Madhurade.
Jaya Radha Nila Madhurada Nila Madhurade.
Jaya Radha Nila Madhurada Nila Madhurade.
Chitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jayom Vishnupad, Paramahansa, Parajikachara, Astatara Satarashi, Shimada's Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya, Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Shikoho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Swami Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Mayapura Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Tulasi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Ganga Maya Ki Jai, Jamuna Maya Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Guranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Patita Pavani Ki Jai. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Namaste Saraswati Devi. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain the pure devotional service. I bow down to his lotus feet with great honor and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet.